I am Tom Bohn, CEO of Inman, and I could not be more excited to have my guests here today. From Serhant, Matt and Megan Chionis. They have an incredible story to tell. Never were in real estate, yet grew to the 1% group here in Naples, Florida. They are an incredible husband and wife team. They have a compelling story, including late night texts from Ryan Serhant. Hey everyone, this episode is brought to you by Lofty, the Agentic AI operating system for real estate. Lofty's AI doesn't wait to be prompted. It works proactively on behalf of your agents to uncover new listing opportunities, engage leads, schedule meetings, and drive more transactions. Lofty turns every agent into a top producer. Visit lofty.com to see how Agentic AI can put your business growth on autopilot. Everybody in the business of home has a pitch. Almost nobody gets asked a hard question. This show fixes that. Welcome to Noise versus Signal. I'm your host, Inman CEO Tom Bohn. Each week we sit down with the top producing agents, industry CEOs, prop tech founders, and the people shaping the future of the business of home. Then we break down the week's biggest headlines and decide what's noise and what's signal. Let's get into it. I want to hear what you did before, because I actually think it's incredible kind of what you used to do and how that ties into your success as realtors, particularly in this luxury market. So Matt, why don't you start?
Sure. So prior to real estate, we weren't second generation agents. We're not anything we said this is the plan A or plan B, and it's not something we fell into either. So prior to real estate, we were downtown Chicago, pre-kid, so we were fun back then, we say, but had a medical consulting firm. Megan and I built from the ground up, work with medical offices, wellness offices, fitness centers, et cetera, and helping them shift to a wellness model. So we would go in and help them make that transition into wellness, not just maybe a sickness model, as we'd call it. And big companies started playing in that sandbox, and Megan and I, while it was a very successful company, big companies started coming into that sandbox, and we said, okay, it's time to make a shift. You read the room and see what's next. So we had a nice exit from that, nothing major. It was one of those companies that we didn't start with the end in mind, and we learned from that, but had an exit and then said, what is the next challenge for us? And real estate was always a passion for ours. And so we said, let's launch our real estate brand. Let's move from downtown Chicago. Let's move to Naples. And we said, let's approach real estate not like a realtor. Let's approach it like a consultant.
You are, in your previous role, you were speaking to rooms of 8,000 plus people. Like how is that different now than kind of meeting with, luxury sellers, talking to them individually, or those transferable skills?
I would say the public speaking really wasn't as much of a transferable skill. We're very operationally minded, and that was what we would speak on. I'm not a motivational guy by any stretch of the imagination. I'm very, here's how it's done and let's get it done. And so with public speaking, it was great experience, and being in stadiums, and I think really it was the personal relationships that translated the most with very successful physicians, surgeons, people with huge fitness companies, and really being around that clientele, and then the clientele they serve. So when you're working with a plastic surgeon who is operating on executives, or the fitness that you have to have a certain net worth to even get in the door to be his client, his or her client, that is really the thing that translated the most was those kinds of relationships and how to treat those clients.
Why Naples?
I'm gonna let you go with this one.
Yeah. Tell me, Megan, why, of all the places you could have picked coming from Chicago?
Here. It truly was a flip of the coin. We said, okay, we wanted to move out of the city. We really didn't want to go to the suburbs of Chicago. And so it came down to Dallas or Naples. And one day I'd say, let's move to Naples. And Matt would say, no, let's move to Dallas. And then I'd wake up and say, okay, let's go to Dallas. And then he's like, no, I changed my mind. Let's go to Naples. And so finally one night we flipped a coin. We landed on, I don't know if it was heads Naples, tails Naples, packed up a moving truck, and here we are.
What's crazy about your story to me is that you don't have a real estate background before you started this. But in 2023, you did 33 million. I mean, that's insane.
Thank you.
Like, how do you just drop in and then you become one of the tips of the spear for Serhant in Naples? I mean, did you manifest this? How does this happen? Like, I mean, truly, because it's not easy, especially in this day and age, to become a realtor, to get started, and to really try to develop the types of relationships you've developed. Like, what does that look like?
We started with the brand first, and at the end of the day, this business is about people. There are people that are market experts, which you absolutely need market knowledge. I don't want that to get misconstrued, but money comes from people. The business is with people. And if you can treat people well, the business will follow. And so we started with our brand and with people. And so when we evaluated the market, we actually, real estate, we said, I think we can really bring this to the next level and really elevate the experience people have here. So that was where it started. And the concierge really concept was started during Irma, right? We were displaced. We were in Tampa. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were in Tampa. We didn't have power in Naples. And so we just were up there and had time to kind of think and look at the water. And we said, okay, how are we going to be different? Because at that time, there were over 6,000 agents in Naples. Now there's over 8,000. Obviously in Lee County, there's a lot as well, as an understatement. And so we just said, how are we going to stand out? Because we're very competitive. Yeah. And so when people were actually talking us out of doing real estate here, we had a lot.
They were. People were actually saying to you, don't do it.
Do not do it. How are you going to stand out? There's so many agents, and we're very competitive. So we just said, look, the cream will rise to the top, and we're just going to outwork everybody. We get up earlier, we work later, and let's be different. Let's provide a different level of service, and that's what happened with it. So it led with the brand, and then the brand drove where our success.
And your brand was something completely different up until about how long ago?
The brand was pretty much the same, not so much brokerage, but the brand itself was.
Right. You two as a brand, but the brokerage was completely different.
Correct.
Yes.
So you come down to Florida, never been in real estate. Let's replay this whole story, because this is why it's such a good story. You come down to Florida, you've never been involved in real estate, okay? You have a hurricane, you get displaced, and in 2023, you still do $33 million. I mean, that's baller, right? Do you understand that this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you guys? So, walk me through that. You start with a group here. You become one of the top teams in Naples. And all of a sudden, and Megan, you have to tell this story because you told it to me at lunch, and I thought it was absolutely hysterical, okay? You now start to he's out of the country. Let me set this premise here, okay? He's out of the country, and you're getting these random texts and stuff. And talk to me through the origin story of jumping onto the Serhant platform.
Here.
Yeah.
So we weren't looking to leave our brokerage. We were, at the top there. We were comfortable, and we saw the changes from everything from NAR to AI to just a lot of things that were going to be changing the industry. And we knew that we were going to have to adapt to that in some way, shape, or form, whether it was on our own, with our brokerage, third party at all. And that kind of led us to, we somehow got onto Serhant's radar. And we kind of figured, who doesn't want to be in the Naples market? It's a luxury market. It's,
right.
Everybody wants to be here. Everybody wants to live here. So we got a message from Serhant, and Matt very eloquently said, no, thank you.
So who did you get an email from?
So we got an email from Ryan, and then we got an email from the VP of
Was it actually from Ryan?
I assume so,
okay.
yes. Though I would speculate.
Okay.
So we got an email.
You said no. You said no to Ryan Serhant.
I did not say, let that be on record. I did not say no.
I said no.
Matt said no.
Matt, let that be on record. Matt said no. Yes. Okay. You told Ryan Serhant, TV celebrity, all over the place. No.
No.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Okay. And what was the reason initially?
He did say no, thank you.
Yeah.
I was politically correct about it. I think I did make a comment of hey, you're a celebrity brand. That was really the reason. You're a celebrity brand. That doesn't resonate with our market. I wish you all the best. And I'm pretty sure I said something about this is probably not going to work here. I'm pretty sure I said something.
Wow.
It was just nope, no thank you. That was that.
And Ryan was offended. He walked away. What did he do?
I don't think that he responded.
No.
The VP, kept saying, let's just set up a Zoom. Let's just meet. Let me just present.
Right.
Let me present what I want to present. So a little bit of time went by, not very much. And I believe that Ryan was international. And I got a text at a very odd hour. And it started with...
And Matt's out of the country.
Ryan was out of the country.
Ryan was out of the country.
He was out of the country, hence the odd time that I received the text.
So you're getting late night texts from Ryan Serhant.
From Ryan Serhant. The text said, it opened with, "Hi, this is Ryan Serhant." Well, I'm sorry. Anybody in their right mind would say, that's probably spam, something auto. There's just no way that Ryan Serhant's just casually texting people on his cell phone. So I press the little button that's report to spam, and then it comes up.
So you reported
report to
Ryan.
spam.
That's awesome.
I hope he didn't miss any deals from that because it's good.
Sorry, Ryan.
I love that.
So whatever, spam, unsubscribe me, let's move on. And then the VP of growth reached out again and said, hey, can you at least just respond to Ryan? Can you have better manners and actually respond? And I had an SHIT moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need
You're allowed to say it.
Okay,
No,
I had an shit moment.
Yeah.
We have a 3-year-old, so we spell a lot now.
Yeah.
Which he's going to probably learn to spell faster than we want.
Yep.
So yes, I had an oh my God moment. I blocked Ryan Serhant, and I look like I'm really rude because I didn't respond to him. So anyways, I unblocked him. We sat down on a Zoom with the VP of growth, and he said, give me 30 minutes. Okay, we can give anyone 30 minutes, if they give us some value, absolutely. We sat on a Zoom with him, and I would say within 5-ish minutes, we were just blown away and said, if this is real, even to a fraction of it, this is exactly what we were looking for in light of all the changes coming to the industry. And so this is our business. This is how we pay our bills. This is how we pay for, our child. And so we said, if we are going to make this transition, if we are going to take on this role and this responsibility, we need to fly out and see it for ourselves. Kind of like Matt says, take a peek behind the curtain. So we flew out to Soho incognito, and that's actually, I will tell that story now.
Is
there a costume here?
So there should have been. So obviously we were still with our brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
We went out there. They were having one of their sales huddles, their company sales huddles, and they let us sit in on it, which I thought was really great. We don't belong to this brokerage, but you're letting us sit in there. It's kind of war room style. Here's what's going on. Here's what we're seeing. Here's what we're doing. Here's how we're leading. And then that also just happened to fall on the season premiere party for Owning Manhattan season 1. And so they invited us to that, to the VIP red carpet. It was quite an experience. So during the sales meeting, there was obviously hundreds of people in the Soho office, and there wasn't a lot of seating area. And so we finally spotted a window that had a pretty, substantial ledge. And one of the corporate employees said, hey, go grab those seats so that you guys can sit comfortably. Unbeknownst to us, though we should have known, because again, Serhant is such a social media brand, that there would be recordings and social media posts of this sales huddle, from Serhant's main page to the state pages to the agents to what have you. We were seated directly behind Ryan Serhant as he's talking. So we were on probably hundreds of Instagram stories while we were there incognito.
And this is all being sent back to Naples, and people are seeing it. Yes. Okay.
Yes. There's Matt. Why are Matt and Megan there? Why are Matt and Megan there? So anyway, our we can never be spies.
Then we had no choice. We had
to join. But Ryan was very gracious while we were there. He sat down with us and he just leveled with us of, I'm good at what I do. You guys are great at what you do, and putting those two things together, you guys will absolutely grow your business exponentially, more so than what you guys can do on your own. And Matt's not easy to impress, and he was very impressed. I'm very skeptical, and I felt Ryan's confidence in it. And so we said, okay, we prayed about it. We didn't just say, oh, okay. We prayed about it, we thought about it, and, we said, obviously this opportunity came in such an odd way. We weren't looking for it. It's meant to be.
There it is.
Here we are.
So I think what is really telling to me on that story is the fact that, someone like Ryan, who does get that criticism occasionally about being the celebrity realtor. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that I've found out in working with his teams and talking to him is that he is incredibly hands-on. And very involved in the business, and the fact that he would take that time and be recruiting and see that value in you guys, that is a very personal, bespoke type of process that you wouldn't necessarily see with a lot of people like that. So I think that's really impressive. Did that impress you guys? Or
the intentionality, I think, was there. And when we spent a lot of time with Ryan subsequent to that, launching a new building, and Cars on Fifth, doing an event with him. And when we rented a Mercedes Sprinter van because we were driving so much. We had a chef on board. When you spend like 10 hours literally with someone and you watch your CEO grinding right in front of you, we'd have fun conversations. And then it was he'd be grinding. We got a call from someone looking at a list, and we high-fived in the car, and he's like, why haven't you called them back yet? And it was like, when you see your leader doing
Yeah.
that was huge for us. And the fact that they don't expand like other larger brokerages do with whoever has some pockets can do it.
Yeah.
And this is they're intentional about where they go, who they select. We know agents in other markets they've talked to, they said, nope, that's not the right fit for us. Not just, maybe they have great numbers, but maybe their business acumen isn't where it needs to be, or the personality, or they have an ego. And so watching that intentionality has really been big for us to say, okay, this is not, they're just going to grow where they want to grow. It's here's where we want to grow.
I love that. And I think one of the things that I also, we mentioned, teased earlier, was the fact that what attracted Serhant to you all is this whole concept that you have about, most agents disappear after the closing. Mm-hmm. And I love the comment that you shared with me, which is you feel like your job begins when you close. And you've really brought to bear this whole concierge type of concept, and this consultative concept, and really bringing to bear resources around your buyers or your sellers. And talk to me about that. I mean, there was even a story, Matt, about getting this supercar into someone's driveway. So tell me a little bit about what that concierge approach looks like, and how it's distinguished you all.
Yeah, it started with that being our brand and how we're different, and that is a big part of your branding, is what aligns with who you are, and also then price point and geographic area, and that's a whole other branding discussion. But yeah, we said we feel that the people we want to serve deserve the next level of service. And so many agents do disappear right after the close, and we know agents who literally block people. I don't know, that does not make sense to me, but they will block someone after it because they don't want to get the calls afterwards and other things you need. We said, let's continue the service.
Is that why my realtor won't call me back?
That's it.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We're all blocking people here.
And so, it really just began with our brand and the concierge service. So how it all started, Tom, almost a step-by-step really for us, was we were in an open house. We'd start sitting open houses, which is all new agents should do. And we would just listen to people walking through, right? What were their trepidations? What would preclude them from maybe purchasing the property or understanding the area? And we just listened. And that was that consulting approach. We said, let's listen to the problem and be the solution. It wasn't rocket science. And so we would listen to people and then create the solution for it. So it started with more home-related things of, we're a very seasonal market here, and people aren't here a lot during the year, especially this time of year when it's hot. And so people would say, well, who's going to watch my house when I'm not here? So we said, well, let's have a concierge home watch. Maybe someone would find the perfect property, but the area, the neighborhood they like, but boy, who's going to renovate my house? And I hear horror stories of contractors taking my money and running. And we said, let's start a renovation concierge. So it started within that, and then vendor discounts, and started that way. But then clients would make a flippant comment, one of them about wanting to test drive the new Bentley, and it wasn't even out yet. We said, okay, let's do this. So reached out to Bentley, and because of who we were, we had good connections with them, and the new Bentley was not even on the market. It was delivered to his driveway for a test drive.
That's incredible.
And then it evolved into private aviation and yachting, and then it's evolved into wealth management and estate attorneys, and we've really become that central spoke for people.
Yeah.
When someone has a life event, we're the first person they think of, and that's been great to still be in that sphere for them. And then it's evolved into lifestyle events. I don't know if you want to talk about lifestyle events, kind of how that's evolved.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of tie a bow around what you were saying, so we got licensed in 2018, and we are still in active communication with clients that we met in 2018. And it's not, it's beyond the occasional Christmas card, are you ready to list? Yeah. How, what's going on? It's, a lot of them went to, our son's baptism. We go to their birthday parties. We've traveled with some of them. And so just that really, the care and the maintenance of the relationship, I think, is just something that it absolutely has built our business. It's the foundation, it's the walls, it's everything. And so we've just been very intentional about that. Mm-hmm. In terms of the lifestyle and the events, post COVID, we saw a lot of people starting to spend more time down here, 6 months, 9 months. We also have a lot of clients that are full time now. You can work from anywhere. So why am I going to work somewhere where it's freezing cold and, there's a blizzard every other day? Yeah. So we have a lot of people here more, which then has led them to say, I need to build my social circle here. I've lived up north for my entire adult life. I have that social circle I've built over the years. I don't have that here. So how do I find friends? How do I know that they're good people? How do I know that I can relate to them? Our clientele, they are very successful. They're well educated. They're well traveled. They're very high up in what they do. And with that, we always say that comes with, it's a little bit harder to make friends. It's a little bit harder to grow your social circle, because you do need to be mindful of who you're sharing things with, who you're sharing life with. And so we thought, again, there's a problem. Let's find a solution, because if people are spending more time down here and they're making friends, then they want to spend even more time down here and they want to bring their friends. So how can we be the solution to that problem? We started our events, which are probably my favorite part. I always say, I'm a realtor by day, I'm an event planner by night. And so, we said, what if we can find a creative, fun, elevated way to bring successful people together so that they can meet, mingle. It's not networking. It's just come, have fun, enjoy an experience that's worth your time, that you'll love to do, that you'll enjoy, and then meet some people that you're probably going to be really great friends with.
Yeah.
In terms, with our ecosystem of other vendors and companies and businesses that we've built these relationships with, we said, you bring your clients, invite your clientele, because your clients are my clients and vice versa. They're all the same people. And in these events, we've seen really beautiful friendships come out. We've had clients go into business together. We have them traveling together. And so that's just been really special to see, because again, it's so not real estate related, but that's kind of our thing.
We're more than a realtor.
Yes.
We said, let's be the solution for them.
How does that, so you guys obviously do very high-end homes, beautiful homes. There's pictures on the wall here that folks at home can't see, but is that transferable to like the $400,000, $500,000 realtor, the whole concierge approach? And what does that look like for the average realtor who's not maybe on the luxury side?
Absolutely. It translates because it is service, and this is the customer service business. If you're approaching real estate to sell, this is not for you. Mm-hmm. If you're approaching it to love on people and serve people, get ready for a big career ahead. So regardless of the price point, it is absolutely transferable, translatable to north, south, east, and west. And so what we did with it was, we knew the name Concierge Realtor and other agents were using it, white glove service, and I was like, this won't work because it's kind of a fluff thing. And Megan, being the voice, the brains and the beauty and everything, she's everything. Yeah.
Yeah. We agree.
No argument. Again, and so we said, okay. Megan goes, if everyone's fluff, what if we're substance? Let's actually create this menu. So the first thing for any agent is looking at your market and listen to your clients' needs. What are their concerns? There's so much market data out there. I think the future for agents belongs to the ones who serve the best. They're trustworthy. They create the most solutions and access for their clients. And so for us, we started in that 400,000, I think 400,000, which is, for most markets, that would also be a lot. But when you're new, you have to start somewhere. And I know there's people that are going to say, well, that's not dreaming big and shooting for the stars. Well, you have to start somewhere. And that bullet going to the stars started from somewhere. And then it had the journey, and then it arrived. And so this is not get rich quick. This is building a business. And so if you build your brand on service and loving on people, then any market this will work in, because at the end of the day, people are people, right? Yeah. And no matter what, they want to know that they're important to you and you're there for them. And so that's really why this concept is transferable. So do you want like a step-by-step of how we did it? Maybe someone else can replicate it. You tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me put out the elephant in the room. Okay. You guys are married, right? If my wife had to work with me every day, she'd throw herself off the bridge, like literally. Like there's no universe where her and I work together every day. So, and I am always absolutely amazed by couples who can work together, raise a child together, and still be happy and thrive. And you guys are all of those things. How does that work, Megan? What does it feel like? Like, at what point do you shut it down and it's not about business, or it's just about family, or it's just about each other?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think shutting it down is definitely something that we need to work on, but we are also in the throes of growing our business. So that does lend to a little bit more 24/7, 365. So yes, we are either talking about business or our son most of the time. But that being said, we have, we've been together for about 16 years now. We got into business together almost when we first started dating. So kind of like almost from day one, we've been in business together from our consulting company to now real estate. We have found, and again, we both have our master's degree in psychology. So everything that we do comes through that filter of how, we relate to other people, how we relate to each other, and how we set boundaries. We have found that he and I are quite polar opposite in our personalities, how we build, how we deal with people. We always say, like, in the good cop, bad cop situation, he's the good cop and I'm the bad cop. He's very political, he's very kind, he's very soft. I did tell a client one time to either put up or shut up because I was just over him. Brian, that one's for you.
How do you break a tie? Matt, who wins? Like, how do you?
I do.
All right, there you go. That's. I knew it had to
be. But no, we definitely we play on each other's strengths and weaknesses. So there are things that he really excels in that I'm not, and vice versa. I love the marketing, the creativity, the events, all of that kind of stuff. He loves to just have a cup of coffee with people, have lunch, take them around, and he can go into a networking event, whereas I will find the closest exit and hightail it out of there. So yeah, it works for us. We work together. We work separately. You will most of the time find us in two separate cars driving to the same location and then going into two different directions. So yeah, it honestly just works. It's not for everyone though.
And Matt, you agree with everything she said?
Yes.
Your witness, Your Honor.
I didn't kick him under the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna have to edit that.
He's been grimacing this whole time, kind of like, hey,
yeah. There's so many jokes I want to make right now that are not correct. But no, it's really the mutual respect we have for each other, and I really admire everything that Megan is, and we have that respect for each other. So.
If you had to give one recommendation for couples out there who are thinking about doing similar types of things together, what would they be, Matt?
Make sure your relationship is solid first.
Yeah,
that's where it starts. And so, because if there's internal conflict, then that turmoil will ripple into other parts of your business, which then it's a very cause and effect. Also, then you have issues with the business, which impacts income. Then income hurts the relationship, and it's not a good cycle.
Yeah.
So make sure your relationship is solid first. Yes.
I love it. Okay, this is the fun part of the podcast. You guys ready for this? It's called Signal or Noise. I'll throw out some topics, and you will tell me whether it's signal, it professes something that will be a trend or continue or be important, or it's noise, and we need to discard it and not worry about it. Okay, you ready for this?
Ready.
You both get an answer. Matt, you can't look to her to determine what the answer is before you say it, okay? So you actually have to stand on your own here, all right?
You can do it.
Okay, first question.
Okay.
Ryan Serhant's hair, signal or noise?
Well, I can go first.
Oh, well, right now he's in a situation of whether he grows it back out. So I would say as is signal.
Signal?
Noise.
Noise. Noise. Bald is beautiful, and screw you, Ryan Serhant. All right?
That one had a situation behind it.
We'll need more about that story later.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not bitter or anything. Just, it's fine. Okay, the Bravofication of real estate. Agents building a following before they build a book. Signal or noise?
Noise.
Noise. Okay.
I agree.
Noise.
Yes.
Dig into that a little bit. I mean, I see a lot of these folks. I literally had someone share with me a reel the other day from someone. They said, God, is this true? It was a realtor who, when I actually dug into who the realtor was, they barely did anything. But it was like, Florida's prices are collapsing 50%, and it's like,
dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 and they're in front of a screen and all this type of stuff. It's really, it's one thing to kind of get clicks and to get people to follow you. It's quite another thing to get people to actually trust you with their home to either sell it or buy it. Would you agree with that?
Yes, there is a lot of clickbait out there. And look, is social media a phenomenal way to grow business? Absolutely. But in a market like ours and so many other markets, there does need to be that track record, and some of the agents that sell the least amount in Naples have some of the biggest followings. And that was something Serhant, when they reached out to us, they were like, you don't do any marketing your social media, did they say abysmal or terrible?
Abysmal.
I think that was
Abysmal. Okay.
And they go, yeah, you're top 1% in Naples year in, year out, and you have not been doing this for 20 years. You have not been doing this for that long.
Yeah.
We said, well, it's the relationships. And so that, yeah, some of the most followed real estate agents in Naples actually do not very much volume.
Florida migration is dead. People are no longer moving to Florida. Signal or noise?
Noise.
Noise.
Absolute noise.
Okay, tell me about that, because that's something I wonder about all the time, because we had this big migration of folks coming in. It has slowed down quite a bit, but is Florida's better days still ahead of it?
Absolutely, because with the COVID era happening, we were essentially borrowing from the future. We had a lot of clients that were not going to consider their move for 3, 4, 5 years downrange that started buying earlier just because of COVID. And there was the YOLO mentality for these people saying, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm not getting any younger. I'm not going to wait to see what happens. The world's going to be okay, but I'm going to jump in now. So there is such a buyer demand built up that our forecast for the future, especially for Southwest Florida, is extremely strong.
Do we need interest rates to drop precipitously, or do you think that's going to happen in 27 either way?
There you go.
I don't think that impacts Florida as much as it does other markets.
Okay.
Naples across the board is usually in a 70%-ish cash. West of 41, which is kind of our area, is in the 90% cash. So there's not much contingent upon the interest rates. Obviously, it does have an impact. I do think it'll be sooner rather than later, but we don't have that as weighing as much as other markets do, in our opinion.
Yeah. Okay, so private off MLS listings for the luxury market become the norm. Signal or noise?
Becomes the norm?
Becomes the norm.
Signal.
Signal. Wow. Signal.
Yes.
So on this whole battle of private off market listings, where do you guys sit on that?
It's whatever's best for the seller. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. And we've dealt with that so much here because it was kind of the Wild West with off markets before. Right. Yes. And in some ways it was very good because then it was kept to agents who actually knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. But concurrently, there were agents that would just want to double end the deal and not do what's best for the seller. So it is all about what's best for the client. And so I think there are situations and markets that are absolutely perfect for this off-market private placement platform. And then there are different price points in different markets where that is not what's best for them. So.
Excellent. Okay, here's a last one, but I think an important one. Brokerages are now a commodity, and it's all about the local realtor brand. Signal or noise? You can't look at Megan.
I'm trying to look off the reflection.
You're trying to get a reflection to see.
One more time on that one. Just I want to have a gut reaction. I was just trying to process.
Yeah. Brokerages are becoming a commodity, and it's all about the individual brand of the realtor. Signal or noise?
Currently, signal. I think eventually will be noise.
Eventually noise. Megan?
Signal.
Yes. So let's walk through that, because I've said this actually in a number of my podcasts and speeches, and I actually think it's all about the local realtor and not about the brokerage itself. But in your case, I think their case could be made that Serhant's brand and all the features and everything have elevated in some sense, what you're doing. How does that look, though, for folks who maybe not in a similar type of brokerage?
We tell people that the brokerage doesn't make the agent. The brokerage doesn't dictate your bank account. It is up to you to build your brand, build your business. But if you as an individual are being left behind because you're not adapting to technology, then that's on you. Concurrently, if your brokerage is holding you back because they're not adapting, they're not trying to empower the agent and do what's best for the client, and they're not growing that way, if their head is in the sand, which we've seen a lot of boutique brokerages, their head's in the sand a little bit, then it is a problem. And that is where it definitely does hurt the agent. But at the end of the day, it is all about the agent.
Last one. I said that was the last one, but this is truly the last one. I lied. AI is going to come for realtors' jobs.
Who's going to turn the lights on? Who is going to turn the lights on?
There's an app for that. There is an app for that. I interviewed him yesterday.
I think Signal, some ways.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Because certain markets, that is more of a commodity where I think it's going to impact the most where there's markets, and Megan, correct me, obviously anything you feel differently about, markets where maybe they are lower price points where discount brokerages are more acceptable, the level of service is not needed. I think that becomes more of a commodity, and agents can be replaced to an extent, or it's more flat fee brokerages. So we look at the price point we work in, a flat fee brokerage is not acceptable at all because of what is needed. And so that's why I think it's market pending. That's why a lot of the answers have been yes, one way or another. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be market specific. Megan?
I think that it will. I do agree with that. I think in our market, in a luxury market, that person who is buying or selling wants a person that they can trust that will do an excellent job in the sale, in the packaging, in the marketing, and really putting their heart and soul into it. And that can only be done by a person. And so I think that will always reign true. But I do think that the clients that are not adapting or integrating AI will absolutely be replaced over the agents that have taken AI and used it to really not replace their business or run their business for them, but empower their business and help it to grow alongside. Because when you do use AI, for example, to do a lot of the administrative or what we call the necessary evils of running a business, then if you do it well, that frees you up to, again, be building more relationships, be out and about, be able to grow your business more so, because all of that's being taken care of at the back end.
Yeah.
Not using it well, not using it at all, yes, that will be problematic eventually.
I like to say it raises both the floor and the ceiling.
Yes.
Right? Because the opportunities, I think, for those who embrace the features of it, to take administrative tasks and all that off their plate and dive into it, raises the ceiling, but it is also raising that floor. And if you don't get out of the way and use it and embrace it, I think it's going to come for all of us. So I think, adapt or die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt and Megan Chionis, Naples Concierge Group at Serhant. You guys are awesome. Loved having you on the show today. Really appreciate the time.
And we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Noise versus Signal. Follow us on Instagram @Inman News for more conversations and industry insights. And be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. I'll see you next time.